So the big question is this: how do passionate golfers like you and I develop a stock shot day in and day out? A stock shot that's as reliable as the sun coming up in the morning. That's the question, and this podcast is the answer. Welcome to Stock Shot Secrets. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Stock Shot Secrets. And I gotta tell you about something that happened last week about a player who came in town and he posed the question, listen, I make amazing practice swings, but when I try to hit a golf ball, it's not the same. And I think that when you look at all of the people coming through our community text line, and if you're not a part of the community text line, you need to be, because you can essentially ask me any question you want, but inside the community text line on Instagram and all this stuff, you hear that all the time, right? Hey, I can make a good practice swing, but you put a ball in front of me and I can't even make contact. So it's what's the difference between a practice swing and a ball? What would be the difference as to why you can make the practice swing and it looks like Rory McIlroy, and then when you make a swing, it looks like your swing is an unfolded lawn chair? And the reason is there's only one single variable that's different, right? And what you feel, and you feel like you're making a different swing. And that one single variable that's different is that you are different. So what does that mean when I say you are different? Well, inside the golf swing at its basis, right? The biggest part of the golf swing, what we're all trying to do is the word timing. Every golf swing has timing, right? But when you play golf, when you're making a practice swing, the difference between a practice swing and a golf ball is that a golf ball now has a consequence attached to it. So, and the consequence of the consequence of the shot, if you think about drivers versus putters, right? Players will come into the golf room and be like, "Hey, how's your driver?" And they'll be like, "Oh, my driver is terrible. I can't ever put it on the map." And then I go, "How's your putting?" They're like, "Putting's pretty good." But relative, they're probably the same. They might actually probably be a worse putter than driver. The difference is a putter, when you hit a bad putt, it doesn't go into your neighbor's pool, right? When you hit a bad drive, it's going into the dude's pool and you have to go get it out of his backyard, which is embarrassing, right? So the point being is that the reason that the practice swing is different than the full swing is that now there's a consequence attached to the swing, right? So then the question will then beg and say, okay, I get it, right? There's obviously a difference between consequence of hitting a practice swing and hitting a real swing, right? So how am I supposed to deal with that? Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to have awareness that something is different, right? You have to notice that hey, my breathing is tighter, or I'm a little bit more stressed out. And that is where you continually hear us echo in of saying yeah, but you need to pay attention to an intention. One of the 5 things inside your senses: sight, touch, taste, smell, and hearing. So you go, okay, how about just if you're doing that, trying to do it and really focusing on your breathing, or focusing on a dimple on a ball, or focus on softness in your shoulders, or the pressure in your in your hands in your grip, or low center of gravity, or holding a soft jaw because your jawbone holds more nerve endings than anywhere else. So if you're really stressed out and your jaw is like this, you're going to be really stressed out. But if it's really relaxed, then you're really good, right? So paying attention to one of those intentions allows you to play and give you the chance to play up to your biggest potential and the best way that you can actually perform. So that's the first part. The second part to this story is then, why is it that when I do my block practice with my noodles and my cones and my whatevers, right? Why is it that I can do that, but the second you take the noodle away or you go on the golf course, the swing is not the same? Well, first, it goes back to what I just said in regards to your timing is different, which means your tempo, your tension, and your balance are different. But for whatever reason, and I do not have a really scientific way of telling you this, I'm just going purely off of experience as a player, is that whatever that you feel is proper in your practice, right? Because proper swings give proper feelings. So we know that when we practice, we have to be practicing because you have no time to practice. So when you're practicing, you better make dang sure that when you're practicing, you're actually making a pattern that you want to own. Otherwise, stay at home, go to work, Do something then other than practicing, right? If I do 5 plus 5 equals 9, and I do a bazillion problems, and they're all the wrong answer, it doesn't mean you're getting better at math. You're actually getting worse. You're more stupid at the end than you were at the beginning. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you have an answer key when you're practicing, i.e., if I'm doing a math problem, I can do 5 plus 5 is 9, and then I go, I got to check that. And I would either get out a calculator, or I would have an answer key that my teacher gave me and go, oh, wait, no, it's 10. It's not 9. And then I would be like, okay, what did I do wrong? Like, where did I do that improper, right? And that is the process of why we use feedback. Feedback is our quote-unquote answer key. It tells us whether or not we were doing it right. If I say 5 plus 5 equals 9, and I am super passionate about 5 plus 5 equals 9, and it feels good in my skin, it doesn't matter. It only matters what the answer is. And physics are physics. Physics are determining the answer as to what is proper, which is why we need to have feedback stations to tell us whether or not we're doing it right. Hey guys, I hope you are enjoying this episode of the Stock Shot Secrets podcast. If you are enjoying it, be sure to like this episode. Be sure to subscribe so you can always see when they're coming out. And most importantly, if you would be so kind to be able to share this podcast with other passionate golfers who are trying to get better and build stock shots, because it grows through you sharing it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now back to Stock Shot Secrets. So now when we're doing the practice and we're using the feedback, which is telling us whether we're doing it right, we go on the golf course, we go, I feel like I'm making the same move. But the truth is, and like I said, I don't know why, but whatever the feeling is that you have inside the golf room or at your net at the house or in your backyard or your home range or whatever, when you go out on the golf course, you got to take that feeling and you got to times it by like 10. Because a cone drill or or like depth or whatever it is that you're trying to feel on a golf course, you have to really, really exaggerate it for that thing to be made and look real on a golf course, right? So you go, great. How do you do that? You go, well, what I did is I would literally go out to the course at TBC Scottsdale, or here in Columbus, I'd go to Worthington Hills because that was my home club. And I would literally hit a shot on the tee box or the fairway with a camera. Why? Because a camera's worth 1,000 words. It doesn't matter what I feel. The camera is the answer key to tell me whether or not I'm doing it right. So you have to give yourself a chance to have the freedom to fail when you're on a course, and players by and large never give themselves a chance to fail. So what I mean by that is, like, my life is just like yours. If I'm going to go play golf, it's like I had to block it out of my schedule. I'm not teaching lessons. I'm not hanging out with you. I had to get it by my wife. I had to make sure the kids had no activities. And it's like an event. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm playing golf tomorrow, right? So if I'm going out there, I don't want to feel anything uncomfortable. I'm just going to maybe try it on the first hole, and then I go, I think I'll just resort back to what I was doing. But where the real beauty happens and where the transformation of your game happens is when you can sneak out to the golf course at like 5, 6 o'clock at night. No one's there. And you give yourself permission to fail. And you go, you know what? I'm going to really try to exaggerate this feeling. And then you do it, and let's say you video it, and you go, holy moly, that felt insane. But it looks incredible. And then what ends up happening is you start hitting better stock shots, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And then now you're starting to build trust inside that feeling, and you're like, yeah, that's the feeling. Like, I can do that, and I can trust it. So that then next weekend, when my wife gives me a pass to go play again, and my kids don't have activities, and all of your things and your systems and balances in life are in order, and you go play, then you go, I got a feeling, and I know this feeling creates a look, and the look is what I want, because physics are physics, and we're not inventing physics. We're just teaching you how to swing a club with physics as the boss. And if I do this, the ball flight creates a stock shot. And that's why with all this stuff, like, your practice swings are one thing, but your real swings are different. And the thing that's different is you are different. Right? We always say on the lesson tee, what we're trying to do ultimately is we need to take your influence out of the golf swing. When you put your influence in the golf swing, that's when it starts to look like trash. If we just let you swing how it's supposed to be swung with physics, it's really good, right? Like a lot of times when players are doing speed work with like, whether it's the stack system or swinging ropes or like a piñata stick or a baseball bat or whatever it is, right? Speed sticks, the swing is better, right? And that's because the body intuitively knows how to make that thing go fast and it more aligns with physics. So the lesson is when you're on the golf course, you got to go at night and give yourself a chance to fail, film it because filming is the boss, and realize that you are different on a golf course, and that is why you cannot reach your max potential, which is a whole podcast in itself. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys back here for another episode of Stock Shot Secrets. If you're not a part of the community text line, make sure you are. All right, see you guys back here next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the latest episode of Stock Shot Secrets. Now, as a listener of Stock Shot Secrets, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get better. So if you were to go to stockshotclub.com, I'm going to give you 7 days free access where you can send us your video and we will give you personalized individual attention as to what you need to do so that you can start building stock shots. So just go to stockshotclub.com and register there. We'll give you 7 days free where you can try it. And then if we like it, you can stay inside the Stock Shot Club where we can become your coach and walk with you for your entire journey. Thank you so much. And be sure to go visit stockshotclub.com.